Anyways, I think that's enough for news and discussion. I think we should go into the main point of this episode, feature of this episode. What do you guys think?
Let's go. NHL Mount Rushmore, but this is only Western Conference teams.
Yeah, this is your idea, Joe. You gotta flourish it, man.
Okay, so basically, we all put a list together of four players, obviously, four figures on Mount Rushmore. So, four from every Western Conference team that we think best represents that franchise, whether it's the best, the most iconic players. So, we each had a list, and then Thomas compiled all of our picks. Most, like 99% of them were like the same for all the teams into one comprehensive list. So we're just going to go in alphabetical order here. So again, this is just Western Conference teams, and then, I don't know, next week or at a later date, we'll do Eastern Conference teams as well, obviously. So we're going to start here with the Anaheim Ducks. And so should we just reveal our overall list, and then we each have one or two honorable mentions?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
The overall list is the main thing, and then we'll just discuss after.
All right, so our overall list for the Anaheim Ducks Mount Rushmore is current captain Ryan Getzlaf, ex-winger Corey Perry, Teemu Selanne, and J.S. Jaguar. So that's our overall Mount Rushmore. So you got three forwards and the goalie there. So let's discuss.
Yep. I mean,
I would consider adding Paul Correa on this list, possibly in place of J.S. Jaguar, because I think Getzlaf, Perry, and Selanne they have to be on that Mount Rushmore no matter what. But the reason I say Paul Correa is because he played like majority of his career in Anaheim. I don't know exactly how many seasons he played off the top of my head, but I know that he leads the Anaheim Ducks in points per game, goals created per game, like a bunch of like stats that like no one really cares about, but like kind of should be considered. Points per game and goals per game are the main stats that he leads that franchise, and that's why I think he should be considered. But I'm not against that Mount Rushmore at all. I think it's a good one.
Yep. I mean, for me, Getzlaf for sure. I mean, all these guys are the Cup winners on that 2007 team, I believe.
Yep.
So Getzlaf's a lock, Perry's a lock, Teemu Selanne's a lock, and J.S. Jaguar is a lock for me because he won a Conn Smythe in the year they didn't win the Stanley Cup. That was versus, I think, the Detroit... Carolina? No.
I think it was New Jersey.
New Jersey, that's right. So he won the Conn Smythe in that year, and they didn't even win the Cup. So that kind of put J.S. Jaguar over the top for me, and because he leads their franchise in wins in the playoffs and the regular season. So
and games played, too.
Yeah, J.S. Jaguar is a lock for me.
Like, I know games played is just, like, some people might think that's meaningless, but, like, that's kind of a big stat.
Yep. Loyalty to the franchise.
I think we should move on to Arizona Coyotes are our next team. Our overall Mount Rushmore that we agreed on was Shane Doan, has to be on there for sure.
Yep.
Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Jeremy Roenick, and Keith Tkachuk.
These are all locks.
Yeah, these are no-brainers.
For Doan, like, it's kind of weird. Like, he's obviously leads all the Arizona Coyote players in points, goals, all that stuff. But, like, he didn't even crack 1,000 points, which is just, like, in all those games played, which is whatever. Like, we have no idea if he'll be in the Hall of Fame. Like, I don't think he will be. But, like, in terms of Arizona sports, he's definitely an icon. Like, when he played for the Coyotes, he was, like, involved. I think it was, I watched his documentary, like, during his last season. He was, like, involved in, like, governor council meetings. Like, they would they valued, like, his opinion and his thoughts on, like, certain processes in the city and stuff. So he's, like, more than just a hockey player there. And then, like, Ekman-Larsson's, like, their best player now, and then JR there, he was great. Him and Tkachuk in the late 90s, early 2000s, they were a great American duo that played for them as well. So, and then, of course, like, Doan's impact, like I kind of mentioned before, it's not just Arizona, but one player in particular, Matthews, was his favorite player growing up, was Shane Doan. So even though he wasn't the best or flashiest player at all during his career, he was still a very solid player and, like, an icon in that city.
And a great leader, too.
Yeah.
And Shane Doan is another player that was, like, I think he was very heavily involved in the community there, too, if I'm not mistaken. I know that he skates with, or he had skated with Matthews in the past, I think. Like, when Matthews was a kid, I think, if I'm not mistaken. I actually don't know if that's true. I shouldn't have even said that, to be honest. I think that is true. I don't know. But I know that, like, he had a huge impact on, like, minor hockey, too. Like, a lot of minor hockey players in Arizona obviously looked up to him because he was kind of, like, the face of the Arizona Coyotes at the time when he played for them. So he has to be on that list. I think all four of those guys are great players to include on that list.
Yeah.
I think they represent the Coyotes very well.
Yep. Just a quick.
And they have to be wearing those
Kachina.
the Kachita jerseys.
Oh yeah.
If they Thomas, if you make a graphic for this, I think you're going to put a video together for this.
Yeah, I only put
segment.
Heads though.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
okay, I was going to say if you put like their full bodies, you have to put them in the Kachita jerseys because those jerseys are legendary.
They're fire, yeah, they're unbelievable. But I just have a quick thing to say about Roenick and Tkachuk. They're both American, and I think they're the two players on this list in the Western Conference that we'll mention that have played less than 500 games for the franchise, and they're on the Mount Rushmore. So Roenick's played 454, and Keith Tkachuk 332, and they're on the Mount Rushmore. So that just says a lot about them. That just says how much points they got. I mean, Tkachuk had 334 and 332, so that's over a point per game. And then Jeremy Roenick had 379 in 454, but his impact on the community in the playoffs when they went there was incredible. So, yeah, two players that played under 500 games for their franchise and are on Mount Rushmore, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah. The Calgary Flames. So this one, I think we all were able to get 3 locks for sure. But the fourth one, we all had a different player. So our overall list came to, for the 3, was Jerome McGinley, Al McInnes, and Mika Kiprusoff.
Mm-hmm.
So now we could all say who our 4th guy should be. So my 4th guy was Lanny McDonald because he did captain them to, I think, their only Stanley Cup win in 1989. So that, even though he was kind of older when he was there, like, I just kind of threw him in there because I think he retired right after they won as well. And he was captain, they won and whatever. So I put him there. But you two have different guys for this 4th spot.
Okay, I don't really have like a super valid reason for mine. I said Theron Fleury, and that's simply because when I think of the Calgary Flames,
that goal,
I picture him as one of their greats. So like that's kind of why I included him on my list. And Thomas, you have a current, like a player from the current age on your list. You want to mention who you have?
Yeah,
he's your boy, Thomas. He's your man crush.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I have Johnny Gaudreau, but like I kind of shifted my liking into Theo Fleury as well because I was looking at his stats recently, and he has 62 points. I think 57 playoff games, and that iconic goal for the Calgary Flames where he's just sailing hard down the ice and flopping in the boards there. And he's also second in franchise points, 830 in 791 games. So I was Johnny Gaudreau just to kind of get a current player in there, but I think I shifted my way to Theo Fleury as well. So yeah, I think
Gaudreau by the end of his career though will be
I think so.
Like a first ballot Mount Rushmore Calgary Flame.
That's why I kind of put it just like I guess projecting, but no, I think Theo Fleury definitely deserves to be there. But also Landon McDonald, yeah, you're right, Joe. Captain the Calgary Flames, their only cup. So and that iconic mustache and that freaking mouth opening when they won the cup.
Yes. Yeah, the guy looked like he was 65 when he won the cup. For God's sake.
Yeah, he did. He did look.
He also played for the Leafs, right?
Yeah. He started with the Leafs, like in the 70s, I think.
Right. I don't think he was there for that long though. But then, Calgary is where his career like kind of exploded.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go to the Chicago Blackhawks. Thomas, you're a big Blackhawks fan, kinda. So you mentioned this one.
When they were in the playoffs and the Leafs were in, I was, but not anymore. But
same for me. So
yeah, with you mentioned that with Chris Versteeg, but the Mount Rushmore overall for this one was Stan Mikita, legend, recently passed away, so R.I.P. to him. Patrick Kane, a current Blackhawk player. Bobby Hull and Tony Esposito. I know Flegger had one different player on his list than we have in the overall list. Who was that player, Flegger?
Well, that was Dennis Savard. This is another one that Dennis Savard, he didn't play. I don't remember how many seasons he played for the Blackhawks. I think he only played like 4 or 5 seasons for the Blackhawks, so it wasn't like he wasn't there for very long. But he's another player that when he played for the Blackhawks, he was very, very good for them.
Yeah.
He leads their franchise in assists per game and points per game, which again, those are stats that like are kind of like they're extra stats, but they're important to me. So that's why I said Dennis Savard in replace of who? Oh,
Tony
Patrick Kane
Esposito.
was the player that I. No, Patrick Kane.
Oh, Patrick Kane.
Like Patrick Kane, okay, by the end of his career, I would probably put Patrick Kane on that list over Dennis Savard, but as of right now, I'd put Savard over Kane. This one was tough, though, because there's a lot of guys on the Blackhawks right now that are up and coming.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for me, like, I would... Like, Taves is one player that I would consider putting on there.
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't do anything spectacular stats-wise, but he's just, like, he's
Leader.
a great player. Yeah, great leader, too.
3 cups.
And even like, you guys might think I'm pushing it a little here, but Duncan Keith or Brent Seabrook are 2 other guys that I think could easily be the face of like defense on the Blackhawks. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's not stupid at all. Keith for sure. I mean, Seabrook's a bit much, but
Yeah, Seabrook I'm pushing it, but I think Keith.
for sure.
Yeah. All right. So the next one here, we go to Denver for the Colorado Avalanche. So all 4 of us had the exact same. Actually, no, not the exact same, but 99% of this was the same. So the overall list was Joe Sakic, Peter Forsberg, Nate McKinnon, and Milan Hajduk. And Flager had one other player that was different.
Yeah, okay, this one is another one where
You got you rattled a bit?
You easily could put 5 guys on this Mount Rushmore because Patrick Roy, or Patrick Waugh, I guess he is how you actually pronounce it. He played 478 games for the Colorado Avalanche. He leads their franchise in wins. He leads their franchise in saves. He leads their franchise in shutouts. And he leads their franchise in save percentage and goals against average and all these other stats, like adjusted stats and all this shit. Like he's a legend. He's a goal or a legend goaltender, I guess you'd say, in the NHL. And I think Colorado was where he shined the most in his career, I'd say. And he's by far like he should be on this list for me. That's why I put him over McKinnon. I think again, I'm basing my Mount Rushmore based on like careers, like full careers, and McKinnon obviously hasn't done his career yet, so maybe by the end of it he'll be on that list. He probably will, but for me right now, I think Patrick Waugh should be on there.
The reason I have McKinnon on here is because he's already 4th all time in Colorado Avalanche points with 495 and 525 games. That's incredible, and he's only, 24, 23 years old? Yeah. So that's pretty impressive. I mean, at the end of his career, I think he will overcome Joe Sakic's 1,115 points. But that could be a stretch for some people, I guess. But
no, you're right, I think.
Nathan McKinnon is, amazing. And, just looking at the points for the Avalanche, they've had a lot of good players, but a lot of current players are in the top 10. Tyson Barrie just left. Matt Duchene's there. Paul Stastny just left. Gabriel Landeskog and Nathan McKinnon. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players that played in the last 5 years of their franchise. So, I mean, does that say something about their points or players that they've had in their history?
I think for them, when they were so dominant in the early 2000s and late 90s, they had so many guys that they kind of acquired at the deadline and stuff. So they only played 2 or 3 seasons. Like Ray Bourque, for example, played 2 seasons. He's a top 3 defenseman of all time. But he somehow he could be top 20 in points in the franchise. So just stuff like that. They just had a lot of players that played a couple seasons. They had Rob Blake as well. So, and they also had other guys as well that were kind of there for a few years, won the cup, and they left. So I think that's the reason why. Plus, they're only been around since 95. It's only been about 25, 26 years they've been around. So
yeah, I guess we could shift things to Dallas, Texas, and with the Dallas Stars here. So the overall list we've had is obviously Mike Modano, Sergei Zubov just recently went into the Hall of Fame, Marty Turco, and Jamie Benn. So any concerns on this one, guys?
Yeah, I have one. I said that Ed Belfour should be on this one. I think. And who did I replace him before? I said Medano, Turco, Belfour, and Zubov. Oh, Jamie Benn. See, I don't know why. I'm going with all like the old timers here on these
Yeah,
lists.
you
I'm
like
not
old
adding.
players, eh?
I know I'm not adding any because the thing is, not all these players have proven themselves yet. Like, what if Jamie Benn gets traded and like plays the rest of his career for like another team? I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you never know what could happen. So that's why I'm sticking with the old timers, I guess. But
That's true.
Belfour, he basically leads.
Turco leads them in
Actually, yeah,
wins, I
no, I
I
was
bet.
think
gonna say
Turco leads
Turco. I'm
them.
looking now. Turco leads them, and
Yeah, I wouldn't put two
but no,
goalies for
but didn't
Dallas.
Belfour? What? What's that?
I wouldn't put two goalies for Dallas. Like, if I think of Dallas, I think of Turco as like their main goalie. You know what I mean?
That is true. Like honestly, you know what? I'm not even gonna lie. I kind of forgot about him when I was making this list.
He
But
was
yeah,
like
you're right.
very
Like
underratedly good.
for sure. And he was with them. I think he was with them when they won the cup. I know Belfour was.
Yeah, Belfort, yeah.
I don't know if I think Turco might have been in the league then too, though. Fuck, I forgot about Turco. No, but the reason I was gonna say Belfour was because he made the All Star team 2 or 3 times, I think, when he was with the Dallas Stars. Or no, fuck, that was the Blackhawks. I wasn't even the Stars, man.
Man, hockey
I
reference
fucked
is letting you
up. I
down.
should have put Turco, man, instead of Belfour, probably. I like including one goalie on all these lists. I don't know if you guys have realized that.
Yeah, well, some goalies have been really, I guess, what's the word, to their team and very good.
Yeah.
And these are two goalies that are very good. But obviously Turco just a bit better, I guess. And Jamie Benn's second in franchise points, so I think he has to be on it. And he's also the captain. A fifth round pick years back. A fifth
Yeah.
round pick.
Yeah, he's
That-
got to be there.
So, like, in a few years, Sagan could be there for sure.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a lot of players, well, not a lot, but there's some players like Brendan Morrow had a decent career there. Mike Ribeiro, Yuri Lettinen won the, I believe, the Selke Trophy, the only last winger to win that award in the NHL. So Joe Nieuwendyk was also there. I got a lot of Brad Richards. Like, there's a lot of good players there in Dallas. So, and obviously Brett Hull with that foot in the crease goal to win the Stanley Cup. But
Yeah. He was only there, though, for like. Not
yeah,
long.
he wasn't there for a long time, but just the iconic goal, I guess.
Yeah, that was against
That Buffalo Sabres
Buffalo.
fans want to forget. Yeah,
Who was the goalie at the time? Was it Hasek?
it was
Yes,
Hasek,
it was.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's probably gonna be on a list next episode if we do Eastern. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we'll switch things to one of the most dominant teams back in the day, the Edmonton Oilers. So the overall list we had here is not Wayne Gretzky because he's just too good. No, I'm just kidding. Wayne Gretzky, Mark Messier, Paul Coffey, and Connor McDavid. So I know Joe did not put 97 on the list. He put a goaltender. Who was that goalie, Joe?
I put Grant Fuhr just because he was there for all those cup wins that they have. And, like, he's kind of an underrated goalie. And a lot of people never saw him as good, but he always, like, got the job done. Like, obviously, Edmonton was dominant. But, like, in the 80s, like, every game was, like, 8-5 or something like that. So, at least Fuhr would come out on top of all those games. And then I think he is the all-time franchise leader in wins. So, I just thought, obviously, McDavid would be there. I'm not even joking. In 2 years, he would probably be ahead of Paul Coffey in terms of overall Oilers, because Coffey played for other teams as well. But I just put Grant Fuhr because I knew you guys would put McDavid just so I could get, like, because, like, he is the all-time wins leader, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. I was gonna say, you think if we redid this list in 2 years, 3 years, you'd probably have Gretzky, Messier, McDavid, and Fuhr? Is what you're saying? Not Coffey?
Yeah,
Oh,
because
that's
Coffey
bold.
played for Pittsburgh and Detroit as well, and he won cups at both those cities as well. So,
Yeah, it's true.
like, especially Pittsburgh, he was part of the Lemieux Yager connection in the early 90s. So,
Yep.
he could be remembered as, like, a Penguin, too, as one of
Yeah.
their best defensemen. So, he
Agreed.
played, like, all over the place, but, yeah, McDavid for sure would be, like, a lock, and I would maybe put Coffey to the side, but who knows?
Yeah. I mean, there's one player he missed. He's second all time, 1,443 points. Yari Curry, basically I guess,
Wingman.
yeah, wingman to Wayne Gretzky, and we missed him. But I would love to put Yari Curry, but just when I think of Edmonton Oilers now, I think of McDavid. So
Yeah.
Right.
I guess that's you got to put McDavid because he's the best player in the NHL, on the world, on the planet, in the galaxy. So yeah, Connor McDavid I think has to be there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a no-brainer for me. I had to include McDavid.
Going over to Cali this time for the LA Kings. So we all had a few different ones here, but our overall list was Luc Robitaille, Rob Blake, Anze Kopitar, Marcel Dion. But we do have Wayne Gretzky here as well,
Yes.
Yes.
because he did spend a large majority of his career with LA as well as Edmonton. He also scored his iconic goal that passed Gordie Howe with the LA Kings. He led them to the finals in '93.
Mm-hmm.
He really brought hockey to Los Angeles.
That's what I was just gonna say. Like, that's the most important thing for me. That's why I
Yeah.
would have Gretzky on that list, because the Kings, before Gretzky went to the Kings, first of all, they weren't that good at all. And then he went, and like, they kind of improved a little bit. Like, I know that they actually started making playoffs when Gretzky joined the Kings, and most importantly, like, he really, like, he kind of not saved hockey in LA, because I guess it always existed in LA for like as long as I could remember, but he kind of like brought hockey hype to LA, which is a huge thing, I think, and that's why I'd have him on that list.
Well, not only did he bring hockey to LA, he also saved Gary Bettman's ass. Because with all this expansion, if Wayne Gretzky didn't go to LA, I'm sure Gary Bettman would be fired as commissioner of the league. Because like, why are you bringing shit teams into the league, Gary?
Right.
I mean, that trade is going to be one of those trades that are going to go down in sports history. That it's like, why did he get traded? Like, we're never going to know why.
Yeah, it was
Because he
stupid as
never wanted to
fuck.
leave.
You think that was like a secret? Like,
Yeah, I think
there was
so.
like a behind the door thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
100%. There's no
Yeah, I
way in hell
agree.
you would trade him for like scrubs and money.
No,
Actually, I
agree.
think Edmonton won the cup after that.
They
too.
did. They won the cup 2 years later in 1990 with Messier leading the charge.
Yeah, they did.
Gretzky could have won like at least 5 more cups in Edmonton.
Yeah,
Exactly.
funny
That's
enough.
what I don't
Like,
get.
Yeah, he
Like,
didn't even win
honestly.
one cup after he left Edmonton, and Messier won 2. So
His last one wasn't it? I don't know if it was the last season he was in it. It probably was the last season he was in Edmonton, right?
it might have been 87 or 88, I think. Something
Did they
like
win in
that.
88? Because I know 88, 89 is when Gretzky joined the Kings.
Yeah, so let me just pull it up
Yeah,
quick.
pull it up quickly, but
But yeah, I think he did win a cup in his last season with the Oilers, which also was a huge deal too
yeah,
when he got traded.
that
Yeah,
also like
Edmonton won in 88.
Before Gretzky joined the Kings, I don't think for at least 5 seasons before he joined the Kings, they didn't have a winning record at all. And then the first season he's with the Kings, what do you know? They go 42-31.
that's like basketball now. You bring in one player and you're okay. We're set.
Yeah.
42-31-7. Sorry, I forgot that
A
last.
lot of players like that were on Edmonton in those '80s teams. He also brought to LA. Like he didn't actually bring them, but I think he influenced management to bring them. Like I think Yari Curry, well, he played for the Kings, but I don't know if he won the cup with the Oilers in 1990. But I know he was on the '93 Finals team with Gretzky, and I think there was Glenn. No, I think there was
Marty
Marty
McSorley?
McSorley. Yes,
Yeah.
he was on Edmonton as well. Like he just had a bunch of other '80s Oilers guys join him, like in the early '90s as well.
So I guess the real question is: are we putting 5 faces?
Honestly, might have to chisel one in.
Like, you guys think Rob Blake should be on this list?
He is probably their best defenseman of all time, Rob Blake. So that's why I put him there.
Yeah. I guess
Like I would say he's more iconic than Drew Doughty. Now,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
Doughty
Well,
could pass him. Who knows?
Thomas was the only one that put Doughty.
because
Yeah.
Doughty is already past Rob Blake in points. That's why.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like he passed him
that-
in points, but like when I think of LA defensemen, I would put like him and Doughty as like 1-2.
Right.
Yeah. And then we haven't even shifted things to Marcel Dion and Luc Robitaille. both scored over 550 goals. Like, incredible.
Yeah, I think Luke Robitaille is like top 3 in left winger goals all time. I think
And we
over
haven't even-
600.
Yeah, so they're both great. And then Anze Kopitar, their captain right now, he's just unbelievable. Like, from Slovenia, dude. Like,
My
Yeah,
Slovenian
Flagger.
boy, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure he's the only NHL player to ever come from Slovenia. I should know that, but I'm pretty sure he's the only one.
He's by far the best. So
Yeah,
Well, is
for
he not
sure.
the best athlete of all time?
yeah,
Well, like I don't know. They've had like skiers and like they've had other athletes that like. Yeah, no, I guess he's their most known athlete for sure. But I know when he plays with their national team, like it's basically Anze Kopitar, and then you could put like minor league hockey players with them because it doesn't even make a difference. Like,
Yeah.
he's him and his brother. His brother's actually a good hockey player too. I think. I don't know where he plays right now. Probably in Europe somewhere, but like he's the face of their country, I guess, for
Yeah.
athletes.
now are going up way north of LA to Minnesota for the Wild. So a team that's only existed for like 20 years, the Minnesota Wild. So our overall list here is Miku Koivu, of course, leads the franchise in all basically statistical categories. Then we have Ryan Suter, Zach Parise, and Marian Gaborik, someone who may have had to think a little bit to think about putting Gaborik here.
No, you know what? Like I had Gabrick on my list. I had Koivu, Gabrick, Suter, and I said maybe Nicholas Backstrom, but I kind of take that back. I think I'd rather go with Parise.
Yeah, these are all kind of self-explanatory.
Yeah.
Do we have to discuss this one? Do you
No,
want
I
to
don't think
discuss this one?
No, they're pretty
The
self-explanatory.
only I will say though, the only reason I was considering Nicholas Backstrom is because he does lead their franchise in games played as a goalie, wins, and goals against, and saves as well. So that's
Yeah.
and shutouts too. I forgot about shutouts.
Yeah.
So like you could make an argument for him, but I think I'd almost rather put Parise.
yeah.
You could also like really make an argument for Devin Dubnyk. Did he not win a Vezina or was nominated for a Vezina?
I think he was
Yeah.
nominated.
But he doesn't lead their
Yeah, I know, but
franchise though, and like any.
that's what I mean. But Gabrick was their guy in the expansion draft, I believe, that they got, and he was like the next frickin' beret. So
Yeah.
yeah, you got to put him one of their best players in franchise history. The Nashville Predators we're moving on to. They have a weird one there at the end. Well, yeah, this is a weird one. But Roman Josi for sure, their captain right now. Pekka Rinne, their only goalie in franchise history that I can remember. And Shea Weber, their former captain. And then David Legwand.
So random. Oh my.
He was
It's
their first
random.
ever draft pick.
Was he?
Yes, in '98 when they came into the league.
Well, see, Legwand though leads their franchise in games played, goals, assists, points, all these other random stats like game-winning goals. Like, yeah. Like he kind of
like
deserves to be on this list. He's kind of the face. He was the face of Nashville at one point,
Yeah,
but it's kind of funny that he's on there. To be honest.
yeah, and like literally like 1 or 2 years, like you can easily put like Forsberg here.
Yeah, for
So-
sure. Ellis,
Yeah, Ellis for sure. Yeah,
guys like that. So, yeah, I mean, pretty self-explanatory. I mean, Weber and Josi, that's pretty self-explanatory.
They have to
And
be
then
there.
yeah.
Pekka Rinne, yeah, he scored a goalie goal. I mean,
Yeah.
that's pretty. And he won a Vezina, so
Yes, he did.
Stajan, that was, I've probably said this before, but I know Stajan said that Rene
yeah, that's right.
was the hardest goalie to score on. This was like back in like 2012 probably. But yeah,
No,
At the time.
Pekka Rinne he's good, man.
359 wins, man.
Yeah,
Yep.
he might hit 400 in his career. We'll
Very
see.
good goalie.
Yeah.
so wait, I want
Next.
to talk about
Okay.
Legwand before we move on quick.
All right, Big
So
Dave.
he does, I mentioned he leads the franchise in games played, goals, assists, and points. This is his stat line, okay? 956 games played, 210 goals, 356 assists, 566 points. 566 points in 956 games. Like, it's not great, but like, I mean, when you play that many games with a franchise, you're obviously going to lead them, or you'd expect to lead them in goals, assists, and points almost. So, like, yeah, he wasn't, like, a great superstar for him, but, like, he deserves to be there on their Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's go to San Jose now.
All right, San Jose. We got Jumbo Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, Evgeny Nabokov, and Joe Pavelski. So these ones are all kind of self-explanatory.
Joe, you had Brent Burns.
I did.
Over Pavelski.
Pavelski, yeah.
Yeah.
This one is kind of, like, I don't know why I put Burns. Like, now I'm thinking about it, Pavelski was there way longer and, like, was captain and stuff. I put Burns here just because of that 3-year run that he had where he was basically, like, the best offensive defenseman in the league. And he was, like, a rover. So he was like a forward/defenseman. So it was just, I put him there because, like, just his whole beard and everything is so iconic about him, and how kind of messed up he is, and his backpack that he brings every game that's like the size of like my bed. So I kind of put him there just because of how iconic he is. But Pavelski is definitely more deserving because he was captain. He was a 7th round pick.
Yeah.
And then obviously Marleau is like a Shark for life, even though he's played for a couple other teams. Nabokov is their best goalie of all time.
Yep.
And then Thornton got there kind of like in his mid to late 20s, I want to say. And then just, he's more known as a Shark for life for sure than a Boston Bruin.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. People picture, I actually think that if you were to talk to like kids that were born after us, probably like in the early 2000s, I don't even think they would realize that Joe Thornton played for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, probably.
Like everyone kind of pictures him as a San Jose Shark, but they're all these guys are legends. They deserve to be on the Mount Rushmore for the San Jose Sharks.
Is Nabokov's number retired?
I think so.
For the
Didn't they retire
Sharks
it this year?
Yeah.
Or honor it or something?
I think. I don't remember. All these
I'm
guys
not
are
really
getting their
too
numbers
sure.
retired. That's all I know.
He was one of those goalies where like he never went down. He was always like stand up, and he was really small. I think he was like 5'10". And he made himself look big, like 6'4". So yeah, he was decently underrated for their franchise. And Pavelski, like, he's like, I don't know if he's like one of the most underrated players, but like he could score and fire that puck at will in the playoffs. Like I think he has like over 100 points in 130 games in the playoffs.
Wow.
So he was a clutch guy to go to in the playoffs. And then Joe Thornton, Marleau are pretty self-explanatory. But Logan Couture can definitely squeak in there in a few years if he's currently the captain right now. So yeah, that's basically the San Jose Sharks.
Kind of funny that we're talking about Pavelski because I was going through my hockey cards the other day, just because I was bored out of my mind, and I didn't even realize this, but I have a Joe Pavelski marquee rookie card, which is kind of special. And I don't know how much it would go for, to be honest. If he won a couple cups, the value of that card would be insane. That's the other thing too. Like none of these guys, I don't think any of them have won a cup at all.
No.
Which sucks, and especially when Thornton, Marleau, and Pavelski were together. Actually, Nabokov would have been there too.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All 4 of them would have played together. I think they were a great team. They made playoffs like
a bunch of times.
Every year, it seemed like. I think it would have been special for them to win a cup. And unfortunately, it looks like none of them are going to win a cup, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And the weird thing about all, like, the 3 of them that are on their Mount Rushmore, they were all captains at some point for their team. They all got stripped at some point and then were named to the other guy.
Yeah.
Marleau to Thornton, and Pavelski, so.
All right, next here we got Gloria, St. Louis Blues. So overall, they've had a lot of players too that played for them. They're kind of like the Colorado Avalanche. There's a lot of players that played for like a few years here that are like Hall of Fame legends on other teams. Yeah. But our overall Mount Rushmore for them is Brett Hall, of course, Alex Pietrangelo, Bernie Federico, and Curtis Joseph. But there's so many other players you can plug and replace for this Mount Rushmore.
Yep. Chris Pronger was one that this was a personal one for me. I would consider adding Chris Pronger for Federico in replace of Federico, I mean. That's just a personal opinion, just because I picture Chris Pronger as a St. Louis Blue, kind of. And I honestly don't even really know who Bernie Federko is. I mean, his stats are insane, but like I don't really know who he is. That's why I'm suggesting that. But most people would definitely go with the list that we overall like came up with.
Yeah,
Overall,
it's actually like pretty crazy, but Alexander Steen is 5. That's
For
that says
points?
something about how long he's been there.
Wow.
5 in top points. That's pretty incredible. And then yeah, you have guys like Backus, Oshie, Tarasenko, even Keith Kachuk. He could have been on Mount Rushmore twice. So there's a lot of guys that like could be on here. I mean,
you left Cujo out, Thomas.
yeah, I did. I put Tarasenko, but I just realized that is a complete mistake because Cujo is like a legend there as
Legend.
well. So
Yeah, he started he was like amazing in the early '90s with them.
So yeah, that was kind of a mistake on my part, but
They
there's a lot of
even
players,
had
man.
Al McInnes for like a large part of his career too.
Yeah,
Like I said, like there's so many other players that played for the Blues like during a part of their career that I remembered somewhere else.
Didn't Gretzky play for the Blues at one point?
yes, he did.
For
Yes,
like
he
a
did.
season, right? I forgot about that. I just realized that.
Yeah, he was with Brett Hall, and they didn't even win the cup together.
Yeah, that's insane, actually.
Yeah. All right, so now we only got a couple teams left here. So next we're
Yep.
moving to a Canadian squad in Vancouver Canucks. So overall we have Trevor Linden, Daniel and Henrik Sedin, no-brainers, and then Pavel Bure, which I think is a no-brainer as well. I think all 4 of these for me personally are no-brainer.
So mine, I had all 4 of those players, except I suggested that we combine the Sedin twins as one head, and then we add Roberto Luongo on there. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Could do that. I mean,
It's fair. I just think Bure, if you watch his highlights on YouTube, the guy was like arguably the best player in the league when he played.
No,
Yeah,
I'm saying to leave the list how it is, but just add Roberto Luongo.
Oh,
basically.
okay.
No, Bure has to be on there.
Okay.
I'm not saying take him off at all. Linden and Bure and the Sedin twins and Luongo, they all have to be on there. That's why I'm saying combine the Sedin twins as one head and then add Bobby Lou.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Honestly,
yeah, we could do
they kind of look the same anyways.
Yeah,
Just have a Sedin head.
yeah, we could do that. I mean, there's there's a lot of good players on their team. Like Todd Bertuzzi had a brilliant career there. I mean,
Marcus Naslund,
yeah.
Oh, I
That's a
forgot
big
about
one.
Naslund.
he was a good one.
Who's their goalie? Kirk McLean.
Kirk McLean, yeah.
Ooh.
Who else did they have? I'm just thinking back on that '90s squad that went to the finals.
Linden, by the way, we didn't even mention that I think he's the president of operations there in Vancouver right now too. So he didn't just play for, like, he was a legend when he played, but now he has an office role too, which is huge.
Yeah, and I want to kind of go to Pavel Bure. Like, he only played 4. So he's another guy. He's actually the third guy. He's less to play 500 games and be on a route much more because he played 430 something games for the Canucks, and like his career was very short. It was only like 10 years.
What a shame, man. He had like
Yeah,
almost
that
500
is.
goals.
31 he retired at, man. Like that's. Why
Well, he
did
played
retire?
in. He played in. Didn't he play in Europe before he came to the NHL?
I don't know, but I don't know why. Why was his career so short again?
He had a lot of
forgot-
knee injuries.
We forgot about Alexander McGinley. McGillney,
yeah.
I mean.
He played for like other teams too. Like he played for Buffalo.
Buffalo.
Iconic
That was
too.
okay. There's this documentary. I forget what it's called right now off the top of my head, but it's about how McGillney basically broke. There was like kind of like this barrier where Russians didn't like, because Russia was communist like back in the day. Well, I mean, I guess they still are. Anyways, back in the day when they were like hardcore communists, they wouldn't allow their players to leave Russia. I guess they would have been the USSR at the time. Anyways, so McGillney was the first Russian player to come overseas and play hockey in the NHL, which is a big deal because the NHL had to send like scouts and like recruiters out to Russia. Like they were kind of in contact with McGillney before going over to Russia to like recruit him, but it was a huge deal because the Russian government had like spies watching Americans in the USSR at all times. Like there's a bunch of shit that just goes on. I could talk about this that documentary all day. I just realized we're at over an hour here on this podcast. It's going a long time, so I'll stop talking about it. Basically, moral of the story is go watch that documentary. I will find the name and announce it later in the podcast, but yeah, this documentary was it was revolutionary, or McGillney was kind of revolutionary in hockey, in the NHL, I mean, for Russia.
Yeah.
Like, he
His
paved
most
the path.
iconic moment, for sure, was when him and Solani each scored 76 goals in the same season.
Yeah.
When he was with the Sabres, I believe, and Solani
Yeah, it
was with
was.
the Jets. But yeah, okay, moving on to a very, very relatively new franchise. So basically everyone on their Mount Rushmore is on their roster right now. It's the Vegas Golden Knights with Marc-Andre Fleury, Shea Theodore, Jonathan Marchessault, and William Karlsson.
Yep.
Yep.
I mean, pretty.
All very self-explanatory.
Yeah,
Thomas, or no, Joe, you had Nate Schmidt instead of William Karlsson, I think.
Yes, the only reason I had Schmidt is because I feel like he's more of a fan favorite.
Honestly, this is a toss-up. by
Karlsson
the
had
end
that
of,
43 goals, right?
Yeah, and he won the
Let's-
Lady Bing or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Mount Rushmore in 10 years, and I can guarantee you that William Karlsson, Nate Schmidt, and possibly Shea Theodore probably won't be in the conversation. We'll see.
We'll see. But again,
And then-
all self-explanatory.
Yeah, and then our last team is a bit of a weird one because they also existed back then and they now exist now. They were also the Atlanta Thrashers. So I don't know what you guys want to do here because if we're excluding the original Winnipeg Jets, then we're not putting names down like Teemu Selanne, Dale Hawerchuk, Thomas Steen. So I don't know what you guys want to do here.
It's tough.
I think we stick
Combine
with
both.
No, I think we do two separate. So the old Winnipeg Jets, and then we could do the Atlanta Thrashers / Winnipeg Jets.
Okay, so for the old one, I only know 3 players.
Okay, well,
Teemu
Solani and Hawerchuk, I think is how you pronounce it.
Yes.
Those two guys have to be
Wait,
on it.
didn't Keith Kachuk play for them as well?
Yes, he did.
Yeah, but
He did,
not,
okay.
Not long though. I don't
Not
think.
long, no.
Who
300
else
games.
played for them? Oh, shit. No, that's another team.
Were you gonna say Sundin? I always
No.
confuse Sundin playing for the Jets instead of the Nordiques. I don't know why. I know he
Nordiques
plays
had
for the
so many
Nordiques,
good
but
players, man.
oh shit, the Nordiques is another team that we could do.
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, we could.
We could do that in a different episode though.
But no, I guess we could do it in the Eastern Conference. But yeah, I guess we could focus on the Atlanta Thrashers Winnipeg Jets franchise here.
Okay, so for that one,
Okay, if
Our
that's the
old-
case, we gotta adjust it.
Yeah, so I think one guy who's their first overall pick has to be there.
yeah.
Kovalchuk.
Okay, so for our overall Mount Rushmore for this one, we have Blake Wheeler, Dustin Byfuglien, who we mentioned earlier in this episode. He's probably going to retire. He terminated his contract. Mark Scheifele and Ilya Kovalchuk. You guys forgot about Ilya Kovalchuk.
No, I
Well,
just didn't
was
know what we were doing.
Yeah, I didn't know
Oh,
either.
okay, I
Yeah.
see.
I've just put Brian Little there because he was with the Thrashers as well, but obviously he's still with the Jets now.
Mm-hmm.
But since we agreed to incorporate both, Kovalchuk's easily in there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Another
he
guy.
was-
Another guy that played for the Thrashers that was kind of a big deal was Danny Heatley.
Yeah.
Marian Hossa as well.
Yes,
Marian Hossa, yes. I forgot about him.
Marian Hossa.
Yeah.
Haas.
Haas, yep.
I want to go to the Atlanta Thrashers because they don't have them combined on Quant Hockey.
Yeah,
So
on
I'm
Hockey
going
Reference
on-
they don't. You're right.
I'm going to just Atlanta Thrashers right now, and
They are the same franchise though.
yeah,
Yeah,
so like
yes.
their thing is so weird what they do at games. Like they don't mention the old ones really. Like it's because every time they tweet out a stat alert, it's always oh, this guy passed Ilya Kovalchuk, but Ilya Kovalchuk never played for the Jets.
Yeah,
it's so
but it makes
weird to
sense
me.
because it was the same franchise though.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
gotta do that.